we'll visit a Kyoto public bathhouse, the traditional heart of the community, a place to warm both body and soul. A 250-kilometer journey under Japan's clear winter skies. Join us on a cycle ride Nagoya in Aichi Prefecture is an old castle town, and it's still steeped in cultural traditions. Under the towering castle, a lone cyclist is assembling his machine, getting ready for the road. Meet Paul Salisbury. Paul came to Japan from Australia 15 years ago. A keen cyclist, he has taken part in professional racing here, and he also enjoys exploring Japan by bicycle.
So this time I'm doing a journey of about 250k. A road bike is probably the most comfortable, so that's why I've chosen this bike. I've changed the tyres from racing tyres to quite thick, wide tyres. That means that I can run at a lower tyre pressure and get more traction, get more rubber on the road to grip.
It's going to be a long ride, and Paul is carrying the absolute minimum gear. He'll use thin layers of clothing to adjust to the changing temperature.
So hopefully on this journey I'm looking forward to meeting lots of people who are still living the traditional lifestyle, and I'm really looking forward to enjoying these types of seasonal traditional festivals. Let's go!
And he's off, cycling through the countryside to explore this region and its winter traditions. Paul's route will take him from the city of Nagoya along the northern shore of Lake Biwa to Kyoto, a total of 250 kilometers. Nagoya is a huge city, the cultural and economic capital of this region. As you can see, in Japan, cyclists follow the same rules as cars, riding on the left.
We're riding along here, it's a little bit cold, the wind is pretty strong, but once you get moving, get your body moving, warm up a bit, looks like it's going to be a great day. Hopefully the wind's not too strong.
Paul keeps a close eye on the heavy traffic and uses clear hand signals when turning or changing lanes. As soon as possible, he'll leave the busy main highway and take a smaller road along the riverbank. "30 kilometers out from Nagoya, Paul is cycling along the top of a levee by the Kiso River.
You can see the beautiful mountain views in the winter time. You get these crystal clear views, it's so beautiful. That's where I'm heading later on. There's some people down there. I think I can see, it might be like a boat, or like there's a ferry or a wharf just down there. Konnichiwa. Domo konnichiwa.
It's a ferry boat, stationed here to carry people over to the opposite bank.
いいですか？そのままで乗っていいですか？自転車。すいません、ありがとうございます。
This ferry is operated as a free service by Aichi Prefecture.
橋ができる前はね、2キロか3キロおきにこういう渡し船が全部あった。
たくさんあったんですか？
うん、たくさんあった。
Ferry boats used to play a vital role transporting goods and people, but these days they mostly carry tourists. Construction of modern bridges has done away with the need for ferries, and this one is now the last remaining on the whole Kiso River.
Oh, ありがとうございました。すごい。
まあこれであそこに新延び橋ができると多分こういう風景もなくなると思いますわ。
そうですね。まあ
時代がだいぶ変わりましたかな。
そうですね。はい。ぜひ続けてもらいたいですね。
まあ7年か10年後には多分来られても多分これはないと思いますので今の時期ですからね。はい。
お世話になりました。ありがとうございました。気をつけて。And these are the last guys here who are keeping this tradition alive, so I feel pretty lucky to have shared that experience with them and to hear their story.
A first encounter with the history of this river. Paul heads on north, still using the road on top of the levee.
It's great being up high, you can have a great view all around.
With nothing to obstruct it, the wind across the river plain is quite strong.
It's very windy, but it's feeling a bit peckish.
After following the river for 20 kilometers, Paul arrives in Gifu City, looking for somewhere to warm up with a hot meal.
I think there might be like places up here. This one looks pretty promising. It says udon on the sign. Nice hot udon noodles after a long ride. Couldn't be better. Looking forward to it. Let's go. お邪魔します。失礼します。失礼します。失礼します。
あ、背が高い人やな。
あ、そうですか。こっちのなんかおすすめなメニューは何なんですか。
ああ、今多いのはやっぱりね、冬は味噌煮込みが多いんですけども、この地域独特ですからね、はい、一度食べてみてください。
お待たせしました。
はい、ありがとうございます。おお、wow, look at that. Look at the color. It's a really dark color.
Miso nikomi udon, or miso noodle stew, is a dish special to this area, made with locally produced soybean miso. Flat noodles are stewed in a rich miso broth with chicken, leek, and other vegetables.
いただきます。Oh, it's really the noodles are really delicious, but the best thing about it is that the broth, that's the soup. You can see how red it is. I'm used to miso being like a really light color. It's got a very smooth flavor, and it's very well balanced. Tastes delicious.
Nothing like a hearty meal to warm a chilled cyclist.
そのお味噌を作ってるところが探しに行こうかなと思ってるんですけども、
ぜひぜひ何軒か昔からのお味噌屋さんあると思います。
あ、そうですか。
はい。
本当にありがとうございます。
Following the noodle shop owner's instructions, Paul sets off to find a local miso manufacturer.
We've entered this old string of townhouses, so I think there must be a place around here maybe that's making miso. We'll see. Hey, look, there's a guy. Looks like he's making miso. Ah, konnichiwa.
This company has been making soybean miso for 130 years. Paul is talking to the sixth head of this miso family, who invites him to come in and look around.
すごいですね、この大きな
オケって言いまして、本当に今は作る人本当にいなくなっちゃいましたけど、こういったオケを大切にしながら使用しておりますので。
そうですか。
は
Miso is a traditional Japanese seasoning made by fermenting grains. The work is mostly done in winter, when the lower temperatures allow fermentation to proceed slowly. The type of miso unique to this region is mame miso, or soybean miso, made with only soybeans, water, and salt. It's matured in these giant barrels for over a year and a half. Paul is in luck today. He's invited to taste a sample of the very best miso.
しかもなんか大豆が非常に大きくて、今まで見たことがないような。
そうですね。普通だともう機械によってこしちゃいますので、取れたての味噌っていうのはこういった形になっております。
なるほどですね。これは美味しいですね。The bean is quite soft, but it's got this beautiful balance between the sweetness of the bean and the saltiness, so that it's that balance.
まあ味噌屋に来たならではの
そうですね。
お味噌ですので、
ありがとうございます。
食べていただくと分かるようにすごい甘くて辛い料理に適しておりますんで、そういった食文化っていうのがですね、本当この東海3県豆味噌があったからこそ出来上がったっていうそういった料理ですので。
Making use of the winter cold, the wisdom of earlier generations. Winter days are short in Japan, and it gets dark before 5 p.m. Cyclists riding at night are required by law to use lights. Paul is now riding through the town of Ogaki, about 20 kilometers from Gifu City.
It's a really strong smell. Oh. I can smell the smell of the Japanese cypress just from here. So yeah, this is the mas, the cups that are used for drinking sake. And
the enticing smell of cypress wood has led Paul to this shop specializing in masu.
大きさいろんなものが並んでるんですけども。はい。
もともと計量器、お米を測るために使われてたと思うんですけど。
そうですか。
Masu are a very old Japanese device for measuring quantities of items like rice and salt. The wooden boxes are glued, using no nails. This makes them waterproof, so they also came to be used for sake and other liquids. Ogaki became a center of masu making due to its location near both cypress forests and the river trade route. About 80% of all masu are made here.
That the edges are so well fitted together that there's absolutely no parts which stick out. It's been beautifully made and いい香りですね。
そうです。香りは。
Ready to face the masu-tsukuri challenge.
Curious about how masu are made, Paul has decided to have a go himself.
いい感じです。
いいですか？
はい、上手ですね。
After coating each piece with glue, he now has to assemble them into a box.
ちょっとひし形っぽい感じになっているので、はい、こういう時は少し角をですね、
角から
叩いてもらいながら
思い通りに。It's not as easy as it looks. It's really, for me, it's an intoxicating smell. It's a really relaxing smell as well. So doing this type of work, it's relaxing as well as doing something artistic.
はい。はい、完成です。
ありがとうございました。
はい、ありがとうございます。
こういうものを作ってすごい歴史感じますけれども、はい、
こういった伝統のマスと一緒に関わることはすごく楽しいなと思いまして、で、すごく若い 自分なんですけど、こういった伝統ものに携わってもっとこのマスっていうのを、国内外問わずいろんな人に知ってもらいたいなと思って、ここで働いていますね。
By the end of Paul's first day, he's already meeting people in these riverside towns who preserve the old traditions. By 7 the next morning, Paul is already off, cycling toward Lake Biwa with Mount Ibuki looming in the distance. Average temperatures here at this time are about 3 degrees Celsius, but this morning it's a chilly 1 degree above zero.
It's Nagahama Castle, beautiful in the sunlight. Look at that.
The town of Nagahama prospered in the 16th century through trade on Lake Biwa.
Ah, it's Lake Biwa. It's beautiful, look at that. Wow. In the morning sun, it's gorgeous. It's enormous. It almost looks like the sea. It's so big.
Lake Biwa, the largest lake in all Japan.
There's a whole group of swans just checking out, just chilling out on the island.
About 500 of these swans hibernate here each winter. Come spring, they'll fly back to their habitat in Siberia. Lake Biwa is a huge natural resource for this region. As well as supplying water to cities like Kyoto and Osaka, it's an abundant source of fish. And because it was the key approach to Kyoto by water, the lake has been the setting for many historical battles. Further along the lakeshore, Paul comes across a small fishing harbor.
おはようございます。おはようございます。あ、すいません、仕事中で申し訳ないんですけども、これから漁に出るんですか？
わずかやけど残してきたから、網を上げに行きます。
もうこれからお出かけるんですか？そうですか。すみません、突然なんですけど、もしよろしければ一緒に乗せていただけますか？
もういいけど寒いで。
寒いですか？
寒いで。
There you go. So Mr. Matsuoka told me that it's going to be very cold, so he's very kindly lent me all this gear to head out on the boat. So I'm all ready to go. Hopefully it won't get too cold now.
かかってるこれ。
マスティン。すごい。これは何の魚ですか？
ニゴイって言います。
ニゴイですか。
This fish is delicious fried or grilled with salt.
This is a small funa.
琵琶湖だけにしか取れない魚で、ニゴロブナって言います。
ニゴロブナですか？
はい。
Over 1,000 plant and animal species have been found in Lake Biwa, and more than 60 of these are unique to this lake.
So yeah, it's quite heavy hauling in the net, but it's beautiful work to feel the weight of the line in your hand. There is a fish.
Wow.
I've helped Mr. Matsuoka to catch one fish. Listening in the sunlight, look at that. 網の間のところが結構広い大きいその理由
これはね小さな魚を取らない。
そうですか。
そう大きくなったやつから取っていくのが一番理想やから。
あ、そうですか。
自主規制自分たちで決めてますよね。
あ、そうですか。
The catch from Lake Biwa is now only 1/5 what it was 40 years ago. A major cause is introduced species like black bass that have hugely disrupted the closed ecosystem of this lake. Lake Biwa fishermen like Matsuoka are trying to restore the lake through measures like releasing young fish.
毎日悩みますね。
そうですか。
滋賀県の中に真ん中にあるんで、お湾の中にある魚なんですよ。でこっちで取ったら向こうで少なくなるんですよ。不思議なことに漁師さんだけの琵琶湖でなしに観光する人たちの琵琶湖やし、でまた飲み水にする琵琶湖なんですね。だから琵琶湖はいろんな人が関わりながら、漁師さんもいながら守られたる琵琶湖かなって思います。
Out on the water with a man whose whole life centers on this lake. After his fishing adventure, Paul pedals off along the lakeshore road again.
So you can see the island out in the middle of the lake there, and then we were fishing on the other side of that island over there. Lots of little tunnels on the street, but they're beautiful old tunnels. You can see the stonework. It's like they've got a lot of history in these tunnels.
Now Paul is cycling past flooded paddy fields. This is a fertile rice-growing area, thanks to the abundant water.
Look at this. I think this is it. Look at these beautiful trees.
An avenue of towering redwoods stretches out ahead of Paul for more than 2 kilometers. These trees were planted as a windbreak for the surrounding farmland.
This is one of those places that you can best appreciate on a bicycle.
50 kilometers on from his fishing excursion, Paul comes across a very old-looking village.
Fantastic little village. Look at this. Like it come into like a time slip. There's little wells where they come and crystal clear water, and then they've got this maybe where they come and collect their water from.
This is Redeye in Takashima City. Here, freshwater springs bubble up everywhere you look, feeding the water channels that run along its streets.
Konnichiwa. Domo konnichiwa.
Redeye has local volunteers who guide visitors around their picturesque village. The first thing for Paul to see is a traditional cornerstone of life in Redeye.
お邪魔します。すいません。
ここ入ってきてもらいますとね。
お、すごい。
これをカバーだって言うんですね。
そうですか。
お米洗ったりお鍋洗ったりね。ここでみんな台所。
これ昔からこの感じだったんですか。
そうですよ。
そうですか。
Every old house has its own drinking water well, and water flowing from house to house is used for washing. The spring water stays the same temperature year-round, so it feels cool in summer and warm in winter. Even in this cold season, you can wash with it. People still keep carp in the washing water to eat the kitchen scraps, just like their ancestors.
隣もこういうような仕組みになってるんですよ。それでここらはね、上の人は下の人が使うから汚さないようにっていうことでね、気ぃつけながら生活されてるっていうことなんですね。
素晴らしいですね。
Of course, Paul must taste this water.
柔らかいですね。なんかすごい飲みやすい。
分かってもらえた。
いや、すごいですね。これは美味しいですね。はい。
The water from the springs in each house becomes a river flowing through the village down into Lake Biwa.
で昔はここで洗い場となってたんですよ。
そうですか。このところが
はい、ここの場所はね、はい、この緑のね、
はい、
これがバイカムって言うんですよ。
あ、そうですか。
このバイカムっていうとね、水のきれいなところでないとこれ育たないんですね。
あ、そうですか。綺麗な緑ですね。まあ、冷たいと思ってたんですけど、その
案外大丈夫ですよね。
でもないですね。はい。
はい。
おかえりなさい。ハロー。ハロー。ハロー。すごい水が綺麗なと思ったんですけど。
新鮮で美味しい。
新鮮で美味しい。はあ、いいね。
夏には、遊び場に。
遊び場？
みんなで川下りをして。
川下りして。
遊んだりできる。
へえ、楽しそうだね。へえ、子供の挨拶すごい。笑顔が素敵ですね。元気ですね。素晴らしい。
Fukuda wants to show Paul another important use the village makes of its spring water.
お邪魔します。Oh, you can already see the fresh tofu just sitting in the kabata. そうですね。なんか。
Tadao Uehara's tofu shop has been in business for 100 years.
これがそれで私とこのショーウィンドウという形で、お客さん来ていただいたらもうここ見てもらったら、売り切れかまだあるかいうのがすぐ分かりますしね。冷蔵庫で冷やすよりもこの13度という水温で冷やした方が一番食べた時の美味しさがね、
感じるんですか。
冷ややっこで食べた場合でもね。
そうですか。へえ。
Uehara gives Paul some tofu to taste.
はい、お醤油かけないで、お豆腐だけの味見てください。
はい、いただきます。
どうぞ。
はい。美味しいですね。
味濃いでしょ。
そうですね。なんかとても柔らかいんですけども、そのダイスの、
はい、ダイスそのままの味が、はい。
はい。いや、これは醤油いらないですね。これは美味しいですね。
私たちにとってはもうこれ命の水なんですわ。
命ですね。はい。水が人々の生活の中でいろんな役割を果たしてるんですけども、こういうふうに直接も飲んだり、豆腐としていただいたりとかすると、さらにその感謝の気持ちが。
皆さんをね、やっぱりこう案内させていただくによってね、ありがたいところに住ませてもらってるんだなっていう当たり前のことがね、やっぱりこう自分で感謝っていうことがね、皆さんのおかげでね、自分がこう気づかせていただいたっていうこともね、ありがたいことですね。これをもう今若い世代にね、ずっとつなげていきたいと思いますね。
Life in an old village of freshwater springs. With the sun now low in the sky, Paul sets off again, heading south along the lakeside.
It's a really nice soft light. Appreciate it. Reflecting off the water. And it looks like there's a shrine gate up ahead floating in the water. Look at that. Wow, it's such a beautiful time of the day. the soft light and the torii gate. A beautiful setting. It's so peaceful and tranquil. You can see the religious significance of the lake as well. Like it not only supplies the food, fish, and the water to the people as well, but also it's home to the gods. As we learned earlier today, the importance of the lake to the lives of the people who live here. And
this enormous lake, a limitless source of pure water, plentifully stocked with fish. No wonder it attracted people to live here since ancient times. People who developed a unique lakeside culture. "35 kilometers from Harie, Paul rides into Katada, another old lake town. Paul is splashing out on a meal at a ryote, a traditional restaurant, to sample winter cuisine special to this area.
it's a beautiful tatami room with the beautiful paper screen doors.
Every item of the meal laid out for him is a specialty of the season, all harvested locally. A high point is moroko, a fish unique to Lake Biwa that's best in winter, when they're fat and juicy.
I feel very fortunate not only to receive such delicacies, but also to have them being cooked for me in front of my eyes. こういうふうに頭の先に
頭をしっかり焼いて、もう頭から尻尾まで全部
食べますか？
はい、食べていただきます。
いただきます。It's really good, and the taste is really smooth. It just melts in your mouth. It's very juicy and very sweet. It's I've never tasted a fish as sweet as this one.
Duck stew is also a winter dish, extra delicious from the fat the birds put on for the cold season.
It's the duck. Mm.
美味しいですか？
これ大変美味しいですね。なんか柔らかくて、やっぱ脂乗ってますね。
一番脂乗ってるのはいいと思います。
A taste of winter and a taste of the lake's long history. For Paul's last day, he's heading to Kyoto to take part in a traditional winter event. He's now riding on National Route 1, the old main road between Tokyo and Osaka.
Hopefully we can get over the top of this hill. And the other side, Kyoto, the beauty of the old Miyako, you will be waiting for us at the top.
Kyoto was capital of Japan for over 1,000 years. And the city is still full of magnificent historic structures. 250 kilometers after leaving Nagoya, Paul's cycle journey has brought him to his final destination, Kyoto.
you can see the beautiful old townhouses and restaurants and ryokan that they have along the sides of the streets here.
Machiya townhouses are a special feature of Kyoto architecture. Only here can you see these densely packed rows of fine old traditional dwellings.
You can really appreciate the atmosphere of old town. Imagine there'd be like, in the old days, there'd be lots of people walking around, be lots of geisha, maiko, san that we've seen.
Crossing the Kamogawa River, Paul heads further into the heart of Kyoto.
Lots of people on bicycles here. It's obviously a good way to get around Kyoto, you can see. Lots of little narrow streets, so often a bicycle can be the best way to get around. This guy's probably delivering someone's lunchbox in here. It's probably noodles or something. 中には何が入ってるんですか？麺ですか？お寿司ですか？美味しそうですね。食べたい。It looks like this could be the place. It says Mibudera, and this is what I've come to try and find out a bit more about.
Setsubun is the day that marks the traditional beginning of spring in Japan. This is when people visit shrines and temples, attending ceremonies to cleanse themselves of past evil and pray for protection in the new year. Kyoto people have been coming to worship here in Mibu Temple for more than 1,000 years. The high point of the Mibu Temple's Setsubun festival is a performance of Kyogen, a traditional comic drama. Mibu Kyogen is said to have been invented about 700 years ago by a monk of this temple as an effective way to preach Buddhism to large crowds. In the Mibu version of Kyogen, the players are silent, conveying their message through gestures alone. Today's play, of course, is Setsubun. A demon plans to trick the mistress of the house. With his magic mallet, he produces a fine costume to disguise his demon nature. He entrances the unsuspecting woman with the gift of a splendid kimono. She welcomes the demon in and serves him sake. But greed now overcomes the woman. First, she steals the drunken demon's mallet. And then she decides to take his clothes. But she's in for a shock.
The demon has awoken. He's lost his disguise. The woman finally realizes that she's been tricked. She's got the beans. Looks like the demon is a bit worried. Oh, take that off. Oh, straight in the face. Oh, he's being fought back, all the way back. Oh. We learned that the demon was no match for the soybeans. That was fantastic.
As a special treat, Paul is invited backstage.
So he just comes straight off the stage. That's the demon.
The Mibu Kyogen players are all local people who worship at the temple. The costumes and masks have been handed down in these families for generations.
Different manifestations of the demon.
そうですね、小さい頃からやっぱり練習を積み重ねて、
はい、もうベテランですか。
もう50年。
50年ですか。はい、そうですか。
僕が45年ぐらいです。
45年ですか。
私もそれぐらい。
まあ仕事といいますか、そのやりがいっていうところはどこにあるんでしょうか。表現だと。
やっぱり皆さん見てもうて、はい、やっぱりここは素晴らしい、やっぱり民部競技であるということをやっぱり褒められると我々もやりがいもありますし。
そうですか。
はい。
やっぱり節分でもう年が新たに明けましてね、はい、それからまた1年始まるなっていう気持ちもありますね。
The old tradition of welcoming the spring, alive and well in Kyoto. There's just one more thing Paul absolutely must experience while in Kyoto. He's now at Nishiki Market, where everyone in Kyoto comes to shop for food. He has arranged to meet someone near here.
Ah, it's Kabir. Konnichiwa.
Hiroki Hayashi is a writer and expert on Kyoto's bathhouses or sento. He's bathed in every one in the city. Hayashi has chosen to take Paul to one of Kyoto's most traditional bathhouses, one that's barely changed in 90 years.
We go inside. こんにちは、お邪魔します。
今日は混んでますね。結構街中なので、はい、サラリーマンの方が会社帰りに寄って入ったり、そういうのが。そうです。
430円ですか。はい。430円、so it's a bargain。あ、いいですか。ありがとうございます。日本語前です。いや。とても古い家具がたくさん並んでるんですけども、これは
ね、名前が書いてあるのは常連さんが使われるカゴなんですよ。はい。
でその中になんか林っていう字があるんですけども、
僕のやつなんで僕専用のカゴなんです。
あ、そうですか。
だから僕以外は使えないやつなんです。
かっこいいですね。
今日ポールさんはこの番号書いてあるやつは誰でも使っていいやつなんで、こちらを使っていただいて。
大丈夫ですか。はい。じゃあこの19番でいきます。いいですね。
ここに桶がある。どうぞ一つ。はい。まず確認をして、ちょっと簡単に汚れを落としてから入りましょう。大丈夫ですか？暑いでしょ。ここは結構暑いんです。暑いです。It's really hard. ここは市場が近いので、生臭い匂いを取るためとかそういう意味でちょっと厚めなんです。京都の中でも1、2を争うぐらい暑いです。
You must be sure to wash off all sweat before entering the bath, and keep your towel out of the water.
But after a long day in the cold weather with big rain and stuff, there's no better way to finish the day.
Kyoto still has 130 of these bathhouses. There are so many because the old wooden machiya were easily damaged by humidity, and interior space was at a premium. So most families never installed a bath, using the public sento instead. These bathhouses came to play an indispensable role in Kyoto community life.
.ここはね面白くてお風呂入ってるよりみんな脱衣所上がってきてから喋ってる時間の方が長いんですよ。
そうなんですよ。でもう風呂入るのをすっかり忘れてたっていう人もいるぐらいで、あ、僕風呂入るの忘れてたりで慌てて閉店時間間際に入ってっていう人もいますしね。
小学校5年まで家に風呂がなかったもんで、そうですか。だからもう銭湯で教育を受けてると、お客さんというか、はい、おじいちゃんとかおっちゃんからね、 そんな水の使い方したらダメやとか、泳いだらダメやとか、もうそういうね教育の場でもあったんです。
裸の付き合いっていう言葉がありますけども、心を開いて、フレンドリーに付き合うこと、だからまさにこのお風呂っていうのは裸の付き合い。
なんか日本人はなかなか自分の表情を外に出さないっていう、その表に出さないっていうイメージ、ステレオタイプがあるかもしれないんですけども、こういうところに来るとそうではなくて、やっぱりより話しやすくなるって、いろんな人とのその心の触れ合いもできるような気がしましたけれども、それが今日ももう一つのその勉強になりましたですね。
Wherever he has gone, new friends have welcomed Paul in from the cold.
So I've come to the end of my journey here in Kyoto. It's been an amazing 3 days. In a way, this journey has really been a pilgrimage for me. The evil is something that's inside all of us. So having an open heart and being sincere in what you're doing is part of the process of dispelling those preconceptions. So that's what one of the main sort of lessons I've learned from my journey this time has been the sincerity and the honesty of the people and their determination to ensure that it can be transmitted to the next generation. So for that I'm very, very grateful, and it's been a most rewarding experience for me this time.
In his 250-kilometer cycle journey, Paul encountered many flourishing old traditions. And despite the winter cold, he found warmth in the hearts of everyone he met along the way.